The floorboard groaned under my weight as I pressed myself against the hallway wall, my body shaking. My heart pounded so hard I thought it'd break through my chest and shatter on the floor like glass. Voices slipped from behind our bedroom door, slicing through the quiet I once called my safe haven. "She's got no clue, does she?" a strange man's voice said, thick with cruel amusement that chilled my blood. My husband's laugh, once so charming, now hissed like a snake ready to strike. "Rosaline? Clueless. She actually believes I love her," Carson said, his words cutting deep. The walls of my home, bought with my inheritance and filled with dreams, seemed to close in like a trap. My knees wobbled, and I grabbed the doorframe to keep from collapsing. What I heard next would haunt my dreams for months. "The inheritance was worth faking it," Carson said. I heard the bed creak, sheets rustling. $23 million, James. For playing house with a desperate woman who'd believe anything. Bile burned my throat, bitter and sharp. This couldn't be real. I'd wake up soon, safe in the arms of the man I married. But each word sank reality's teeth deeper into me. "You're wicked, Carson," James said, his voice more admiring than horrified. 3 years married for money. I couldn't do it. "It's not just money," Carson replied. I heard skin brush against skin and my stomach churned. "Her dad's company comes too. Carson Industries is mine when the old man dies. Rosaline's too trusting. She'll sign over control without a second thought." The hallway spun like a broken ride at a fair. Carson Industries, my father's legacy, shared the name of my lying, cheating husband. The irony hit me hard, even in my shattered state. I wanted to burst in, scream until my voice gave out, claw his face until he hurt like I did. But I was frozen, my life split into before and after this moment. "What if she finds out?" James asked. Carson's reply was cold, empty of warmth, a sound I'd never heard from him. "She won't live long enough to make trouble." That moment killed the woman I was. What stood there now was born from betrayal's fire and rage's ice. I turned from the door, my steps stiff but deliberate. Each move down the hallway felt heavy, like wading through mud, but I kept going, planning. Carson thought he'd broken me. He thought he'd won. He had no idea what he'd unleashed. Hey, drop a comment with the country you're watching this from. I love seeing where my readers are. This is your first time here, hit subscribe. Your support brings more epic revenge stories to life. Keep watching. I'm Rosaline Carson, but 3 years ago I was Rosaline Brooks. Names don't mean much when your life's built on lies. Let me tell you who I thought I was. I'm 28, with auburn hair that glows in the morning light and green eyes my mom called my best feature. I grew up privileged, the only child of Jonathan Brooks, who built Carson Industries from a 1952 textile mill into a billion-dollar empire. But privilege can trap you as much as it helps. My dad was distant, more at ease with reports than my tears or heartbreaks. My mom, Eleanor, died of breast cancer when I was 16, leaving our huge estate feeling like a tomb. I dove into school, earning an MBA from Harvard, mastering the family business. But my dad never saw me as his successor, saying, "It's a man's world, sweetheart. Your husband will run things." His words should have angered me more, but I believed my value was in being the perfect daughter, woman, wife. I met Carson Carlos at a fancy Manhattan charity gala, where rich folks wrote checks to feel good. He stood by the bar, whiskey in hand, dark eyes scanning the room with easy confidence. He was stunning, tall, broad-shouldered, olive-skinned, with a smile that could light up the city. His dark hair was perfect, not a strand out of place. "You look like you'd rather be anywhere else," he said, flashing that smile that melted me. "Am I that obvious?" I shot back, grateful for his attention when most men ignored me or chased my dad's wealth. "I'm miserable too," he said, his eyes crinkling warmly. "I'm Carson Carlos." His name matching our company's felt like fate, a cute story for parties. Now I wonder if he targeted me, knowing exactly who I was. I searched his face for greed, but he seemed genuinely interested, not calculating. He played that first meeting like a pro. We talked for hours. He said he was a financial consultant, raised poor in Chicago, built his success through grit. He asked about my dreams, my fears, and listened like no one ever had. By the night's end, I was smitten. Courtship was perfect, but looking back, it was all a calculated game. Carson was thoughtful, romantic, ambitious, never overdoing it. He sent peonies, not roses, saying they matched my laugh. He remembered everything: my coffee order, my favorite Italian spot, my love for vintage books. Our first kiss was in Central Park, under a bridge during a rainstorm. My hair was soaked, makeup probably a mess, but Carson's gaze made me feel beautiful. When he kissed me, I felt alive for the first time since Mom died. "I'm falling for you, Rosaline," he whispered, and I believed every word. We got engaged in 6 months. Proposal was straight out of a movie: candlelit dinner, a ring in my dessert. The diamond was modest but gorgeous. Carson said he bought it himself, not wanting my dad's money involved. I cried, touched by his thoughtfulness. My dad loved Carson instantly, which should have been a red flag. Jonathan Brooks wasn't easy to win over. They bonded over business, politics, golf, topics that bored me but sealed their connection. "He's perfect for you," Dad said. "Smart, driven. He'll handle the business." Our wedding was a dream: cathedral ceremony, plaza hotel reception, 2 weeks in Tuscany. Carson was the ideal groom, always by my side, loving and attentive. Our wedding night was sweet, if not passionate. Carson said he was nervous, overwhelmed by his love for me. I found it charming, thinking passion would grow. It never did. Our marriage became a cozy routine. Carson moved into my family's estate with me. He said it was smarter for our finances, and I was thrilled to bring love and laughter back to those empty rooms. He joined Carson Industries, working side by side with my father, diving into every detail of the business from scratch. To everyone, he seemed the perfect husband. He never forgot our anniversary, surprised me with flowers, held doors open, and always said, "I love you," before heading to work. But small things nagged at me, hints I ignored because I so badly wanted our happiness to be real. He avoided having friends over. I'd suggest dinner parties or game nights, but he'd dodge with excuses: too busy, too tired. He just wanted us alone. I told myself he was simply shy by nature. His phone was always face down, always silent. When it buzzed during our moments together, he'd glance at it with a look I couldn't place, then shut it off. "Work can wait," he'd say, kissing my forehead. "You're what matters." Intimacy was rare, and when it happened, it felt mechanical, like he was just checking a box. I wondered if I wasn't enough, pretty enough, bold enough, enough of a woman to keep him interested. Then came the business trips, more frequent over time: conferences, meetings, events he attended alone. He'd come back cheerful, full of warmth and energy, and I thought it proved his love for me. Our wedding night was tender, sweet, but lacked fire. Carson said he was nervous, never having loved anyone like he loved me. I found his vulnerability charming and believed passion would grow with time. It never did. Our marriage fell into a cozy routine. Carson moved into my family's estate, saying it saved money. I was eager to fill those quiet rooms with joy and laughter again. He joined Carson Industries, working closely with my father, learning the business from the ground up. He seemed the perfect husband. He remembered our anniversary, brought me flowers randomly, held doors, and always said, "I love you," before work. But small cracks appeared, things I ignored because I wanted our happiness to be real. He avoided hosting friends. I'd suggest dinner parties, but he'd claim he was too busy or tired, preferring just us. I told myself he was just shy. His phone stayed face down, always silent. When it buzzed, he'd glance at it with a strange look, then shut it off. "Work can wait," he'd say, kissing my forehead. "You're what matters." Intimacy was rare, and when it happened, it felt mechanical, like he was just playing the part of a husband. I blamed myself, wondering if I wasn't pretty or bold enough to keep his interest. His business trips grew frequent, conferences, meetings, events I wasn't invited to. He'd return cheerful, full of warmth, and I thought it showed his love for me. I played the perfect wife, trained to please, avoid hard questions, and trust the men in my life. I cooked Carson's favorite dishes, managed our social life, and supported his career, never complaining when he was late or distracted. I loved him fiercely, pouring my heart into our marriage, desperate to earn the love he claimed to give. All the while, he was plotting to ruin me. The morning my life shattered started normally. Carson emerged from the bathroom, pale, hand on his forehead, acting like he was sick. "I think I'm coming down with something," he said weakly. "Headache, body aches, maybe a fever. I'll stay home." I touched his forehead, worried. He felt fine, but I trusted him. "Should I stay with you?" I asked, ready to rearrange my day. "No, sweetheart," he said with a faint smile. "Your big presentation's today. I'll sleep it off and be fine by tonight." That presentation was my dream, a plan to push Carson Industries into sustainable manufacturing, my chance to prove my worth to my father. "Are you sure?" I asked, torn between duty and ambition. He held my hands, his eyes so sincere I felt guilty for doubting. "This could be huge for you, for the company. I won't hold you back." He kissed me softly, and I felt lucky to have a husband who backed my dreams, even when unwell. "I love you," he said against my lips. "I love you too," I replied, my heart full. Those were the last loving words I'd say to Carson Carlos. I left with chicken soup in my bag, planning to check on him at lunch. Presentation was a hit. The board loved my ideas, and my father looked proud. For once, I felt I mattered beyond my name. I drove home at noon, buzzing, eager to share my victory with Carson. I even grabbed his favorite sandwich, turkey and Swiss on rye with spicy mustard. The house was silent as I entered through the kitchen, setting the sandwich down. I slipped off my heels to avoid waking him. The cool hardwood chilled my feet as I tiptoed toward our bedroom to check on him. Then I heard voices. First, I thought Carson was on a work call, maybe feeling better. But as I neared, the voices were clear, two men intimate in my bedroom. My rational mind scrambled for excuses. Maybe a doctor was here. Maybe a colleague. But my gut screamed the truth as I crept toward the slightly ajar door. My world shattered. Through the crack, I saw male skin, muscled and tanned, moving with another in a rhythm that was unmistakably sexual. My husband, my devoted Carson, was in our bed with another man, their bodies tangled in a way that screamed familiarity. The sight was brutal, but the words that followed were worse. "She has no idea, does she?" the stranger said, his voice thick with postcoital amusement. Carson's laugh, cruel and cold, cut me. "Rosaline, God, no. She's clueless. She thinks I love her." I should have run or screamed. I should have called someone, anyone. But I stood frozen, watching my marriage die as Carson revealed his betrayal. "The inheritance was worth pretending to be straight," he said, his voice smug. $23 million, James, for playing house with a desperate woman who'd believe any lie. James. His lover had a name. This wasn't a fling, it was a hidden life. "It wasn't just the money," Carson went on, tracing James' chest. "Her father's company is the prize. Carson Industries will be mine when the old man dies. Rosaline's too soft, too trusting. She'll sign over power of attorney without a question. Then her family's legacy is mine." His cruelty stole my breath. He'd married me for my money and planned to steal my father's legacy, claiming everything my family built. "What happens when she finds out?" James asked. I held my breath, dreading Carson's answer. His laugh was icy, calculating. "She won't live long enough to cause problems." The world froze. My breath vanished. Carson wasn't just after my money, he planned to kill me. I don't recall leaving the house or driving back to the office. Meetings blurred past me. Next, I was in my car in the Carson Industries garage, gripping the wheel, knuckles white, rage burning through me like wildfire. Carson had married me for my wealth. For 3 years, he lied to my face, shared my bed, and plotted my ruin. He'd charmed my father, gained his trust, and aimed to steal our legacy, thinking me too weak to resist. He was so wrong. When I returned to the office, the old Rosaline was gone. A sharper, fiercer version emerged, forged in betrayal's fire and hardened by cold purpose. Carson wanted to play dirty. Fine. But he'd underestimated me. I was Rosaline Brooks Carson, daughter of Jonathan Brooks, heiress to an empire, and I'd just declared war. The only question was how total my victory would be. In my office, staring at the city my family helped shape, I plotted. Not just Carson's fall, that was too easy. I'd destroy him so completely he'd beg for the death he'd planned for me. And I'd savor every moment. The hardest part wasn't acting like I loved him. It was hiding my urge to see him burn. I got home at my usual time, my face a mask of the devoted wife after a big day. Carson was in the kitchen, moving with energy, no trace of illness. He'd showered, likely to erase his lover's scent, wearing the sweater I'd gifted him. Seeing him in it twisted my heart like a knife. "Feeling better?" I asked, setting down my personal briefcase with calm normalcy. My voice was steady, concerned. Carson turned, flashing that smile that now made my skin crawl. "Much better, sweetheart. Just a quick bug. How'd the presentation go?" His casual tone, pretending to care while plotting my death, was almost impressive. I studied his face, searching for tells or cracks in his perfect mask. "It went great," I said, letting excitement show. "The board loved my sustainability plan. Dad was impressed. It could be my big break." Carson's smile grew and he hugged me. His arms felt like a trap. "That's amazing, Rosaline. I'm so proud of you." Proud. The word stung like acid. He was proud the way a predator eyes easy prey. "I brought you soup at lunch," I said, meeting his gaze. "But you were sleeping so deeply, I didn't want to disturb you." For a split second, something, guilt, fear, flickered in his eyes, then vanished. "You're so thoughtful," he murmured, kissing my forehead. "I love you so much, Rosaline." His lies were flawless. If I hadn't seen and heard the truth, I'd still believe him. We ate dinner, his favorite I'd made that morning. I watched him, noticing new things. His eyes avoiding mine when he said he loved me. His phone face down, silent but looming. His questions about my day unanswered by real interest. How had I missed so much? "You're quiet tonight," Carson said, squeezing my hand. "You okay?" "Just tired," I smiled faintly. "Big day. Maybe we should go to bed early," he suggested, his tone hinting at intimacy that churned my stomach. The thought of his touch, fresh from another's, made bile rise. But I couldn't show disgust. "Not yet." "I'd love to," I lied, "but I've got work to finish." Rain check. Carson's eyes flickered with relief. "Of course. Don't work too late." He kissed me lightly, a betrayal in itself, and went upstairs. I waited until the bedroom door closed, then let my mask fall. My hands shook as I poured wine, downing it fast, then pouring more. The burn didn't dull the rage building like a storm in my chest. I needed answers, the full scope of Carson's lies. I had to be smarter than he ever thought I could be. In my home office, a space Carson avoided, I opened my laptop. He called it too feminine. Now I wondered if he feared what I'd find. I dug into his social media. His Facebook showed us as the perfect couple, but gaps lined up with his business trips. His Instagram hinted at secrets. Photos from unmentioned places, shots suggesting someone close took them, comments from men too cozy. Then I found James Collarman, 31, a chiseled Manhattan personal trainer. His Instagram screamed confidence, gym selfies, healthy meals, motivational quotes. But some photos chilled me. Restaurants Carson mentioned for work, hotel rooms matching his trip descriptions, gifts like ones Carson owned. The proof was an old post, two men's hands, matching rings, captioned, 3 years and counting. Love you, see. The length of our marriage. Carson hadn't just cheated. He'd been with James before we met. Our entire relationship was a calculated scam. I laughed, wine in hand, at the sheer nerve of it. Carson and James had a years-long relationship, and I was just a pawn for my family's wealth. The planning, researching my life, faking love for 3 years, was chillingly brilliant. My phone buzzed with Carson's text, working late again. Don't forget to eat. Love you. I stared, then replied, just finishing up. Love you too. Lying came easily now. Carson had taught me to mask my true feelings. I cleared my browser history, closed the laptop, and sipped more wine. The shower ran upstairs. Carson was getting ready for bed, maybe texting James, thinking I was clueless. That would have crushed me days ago. Now I was someone new, cold, calculating, ready. I climbed the stairs, wine in hand, perfecting my act. Carson emerged from the bathroom, towel drying his hair, shirtless. His beauty was undeniable, but his soul was rotten. Almost done? He asked, sliding into bed. Nearly, I said, eyes on my laptop, pretending to work. This sustainability project's tricky. You're working so hard, he said, voice warm. I'm proud of you. His sincerity was flawless. I'd have bought it before. It means a lot, I said, closing the laptop. Being married to someone so driven isn't easy. He faced me, eyes soft. Your ambition's what I love most. You'll change the world, Rosaline. He was right. I'd change his world, tearing it apart until only regret remained. I hope so, I said, letting him hold me. His arms felt like a cage, but I played my part. I love you, Rosaline, he whispered. I love you too, I replied, and for the first time it felt true. I loved the man I thought he was, and I'd make him pay for killing that dream. Carson slept quickly, his arm heavy across me like a chain. But I wasn't trapped. For the first time since our wedding, I was exactly where I needed to be. Carson thought he was the hunter, and I was prey. What happens if she finds out? James asked. I froze, bracing for Carson's reply. His laugh was sharp, chilling. She won't live long enough to make trouble. Time stopped. My breath vanished. Carson wasn't just stealing my money. He meant to kill me. I don't recall leaving home or sitting through meetings at the office. Next, I was in my car, parked beneath Carson Industries, gripping the wheel, knuckles pale, rage coursing through me like a blaze. Carson married me for my fortune. For 3 years he lied, slept beside me, and schemed my ruin. He'd won my father's trust, poised to take our legacy, betting I was too naive to fight back. He misjudged me. When I walked back into Carson Industries, the old Rosaline was dead. A fiercer, cunning version rose, shaped by betrayal's heat and purpose's ice. Carson wanted to deceive and destroy. Fine. But he'd overlooked his opponent. I was Rosalind Brooks Carson, Jonathan Brooks' daughter, heiress to an empire, and I'd just declared war. The only question was how crushing my victory would be. From my office, gazing at the city my family built, I schemed. Carson's downfall wasn't enough, it'd be too kind. I'd ruin him so thoroughly he'd beg for the death he planned for me. I'd relish every second. The hardest part wasn't faking love. It was hiding my craving to see him suffer. I came home on time, my face the picture of a devoted wife after a big day. Carson moved around the kitchen, vibrant, no sign of sickness, wearing the sweater I'd lovingly picked for his birthday. Seeing him in it stabbed my heart. Feeling better? I asked, setting my briefcase down calmly, voice steady with concern. Carson flashed that smile that now repulsed me. Much better, sweetheart. Just a quick bug. How'd the presentation go? His fake care while plotting my death was bold. I watched his face, hunting for flaws in his mask. It was a hit, I said, voice bright. The board loved my sustainability plan. Dad was proud. It's my big moment. Carson hugged me, his arms like chains. That's amazing, Rosaline. I'm so proud. Proud. The word burned. He saw me as prey, easy to fool. I brought soup at lunch, I said, eyeing him. But you were out cold, so I left you to rest. A flicker, guilt, maybe fear, crossed his face, gone in an instant. You're so sweet, he said, kissing my forehead. I love you so much, Rosaline. His lies were perfect. Without what I'd seen, I'd believe him still. We ate dinner, his favorite made that morning. I studied him, seeing new things. His gaze dodging mine when he said he loved me, his phone face down, silent but heavy, his questions about my day unanswered. How did I miss these clues? You're quiet, Carson said, squeezing my hand. You okay? Tired, I said, forcing a smile. Long day. Let's hit the bed early, he said, his tone hinting at intimacy that turned my stomach. His touch, fresh from another, sickened me. But I hid my disgust. Not yet. I'd love to, I lied, but work's piling up. Rain check. Relief flashed in his eyes. Sure. Don't stay up too late. He kissed me, a brief, betraying peck, and went upstairs. When the bedroom door shut, my mask dropped. My hand shook as I poured wine, gulping it down, then refilling. The burn didn't dull the fury raging in my chest. I needed to know everything about Carson's lies. I had to be smarter than he thought. In my office, where Carson never went, I opened my laptop. He'd called it too feminine, now I knew he feared what I'd find. His social media was a facade. Facebook showed us as a happy couple, but gaps matched his trips. Instagram revealed secrets. Photos from places he never mentioned, shots taken by someone close, comments too intimate. Then I found James Collarman, 31, a rugged Manhattan trainer. His posts screamed confidence, gym shots, meal prep, quotes. But some images froze me. Restaurants Carson claimed were for work, hotels from his trips, gifts matching his. The clincher was an old post, two men's hands, matching rings, captioned, 3 years and counting. Love you, C. Our marriage's length. Carson hadn't just cheated. He'd been with James before me. Our love was a calculated lie. I laughed, wine in hand, at his sheer gall. He and James had a years-long bond, and I was just a tool for my family's wealth. The planning, studying me, faking love for 3 years was chillingly clever. Carson's text buzzed. Working late? Eat something. Love you. I replied, almost done. Love you too. Lying was easy now. He taught me to hide my true self. I cleared my history, shut the laptop, and sipped more wine. The shower ran upstairs. Carson was likely texting James, thinking I was clueless. That would have broken me before. Now I was cold, ready, dangerous. I climbed the stairs, wine in hand, perfecting my role. Carson came out, toweling his hair, shirtless. His beauty hid an ugly soul. How's work? He asked, sliding into bed. Almost done, I said, eyes on my laptop, faking focus. This project's complex. You're killing it, he said warmly. I'm proud. His sincerity was flawless. I'd have believed it once. Your support means everything, I said, closing the laptop. Being married to me isn't easy. He faced me, eyes soft. Your drive's what I love most. You'll change the world, Rosaline. He was right. I destroy his world, leaving only ashes. I hope so, I said, letting him hold me. His arms felt like death, but I played along. I love you, Rosaline, he whispered. I love you too, I said, meaning it for the man I thought he was. I'd make him pay for killing that dream. Carson slept fast, his arm heavy across me. I wasn't trapped. For the first time, I was right where I needed to be. He thought he was the predator and I was prey. He didn't know he'd created a far deadlier force than he could ever imagine. Tomorrow, I'd start unraveling his life, patiently, carefully, completely. I'd find his weaknesses, target his soft spots, and hit where it hurt most. When I was ready, with every weapon in place, I'd strike. Carson wanted to ruin me. Fine. But he'd learn what it meant to be hunted. I smiled in the dark, plotting his end. The game was on. I turned into a detective in my own marriage. Each discovery chilled me deeper. I woke before Carson's alarm, my body wired, ready for battle. In the dim dawn, I watched him sleep, his face cold as if scheming even in dreams. When his alarm buzzed at 6:30, he woke alert like he'd been waiting. He kissed me quickly, a habit, then headed to shower. "I'll be late tonight," he called over the water. "Client dinner." You know how it is. Client dinner. Was that his code for James? His lies were so smooth, I marveled again. "Of course," I replied. "Don't overdo it." He emerged, polished, perfect hair, sharp suit, the charm that once drew me in. He was acting, donning the mask of a loving husband for the world. "Have a great day, sweetheart," he said, kissing me at the door. "I love you." "Love you too," I said, watching his BMW vanish. The second he was gone, I moved. Carson's office was off limits, subtly so, with excuses about his system or my own space. Now I knew why. It wasn't privacy, he was hiding secrets. His desk screamed careful deceit, all business, no trace of his real life. But I'd learned at Carson Industries, secrets hide in plain sight. I picked his filing cabinet lock with a bobby pin, a trick from my college days. Inside were folders with strange client names, papers that seemed off. Then I found one labeled P.W. Rosaline Brooks, my maiden name. My hand shook as I opened it, bracing for the worst. It was worse and more useful than I'd feared. Carson had tracked me from the start. Photos of me before we met, at work, shopping, eating. He'd stalked me, studied my habits, planned that chance gala meeting. His notes were brutal, a profile of my weaknesses, my need for love, my pain from losing mom and dad's neglect. He'd built his charm to exploit me, every gesture calculated. There were more, PI payments, company reports, my father's will he shouldn't have. The bottom, a life insurance policy on me, $25 million, Carson as beneficiary, taken out 6 months after our wedding. He hadn't just wanted my money. He'd planned my death from the start. I snapped photos of everything, hands steady despite the horror. His computer password was James K 2021, his lover's name and the year he began this. His emails were damning, months of intimate chats with James, coded plans for my end. "The project's on track," one said. "P trusts fully. Financial shift will be smooth after the final phase." Final phase. My death. Other emails planned contesting Dad's will, moving assets, scheming with strangers. Deleted messages were worse. "She's asking too many questions. We may need to speed things up. Can you make it look accidental?" James replied. "Car accident's clean, but a house fire fits her candle habit." I stared, tears held back. Carson had weaponized my routines, copied everything to a secure drive, erasing my tracks. In his chair, I processed it all. Carson wasn't just a liar. He was a sociopath, plotting my murder for years. The old me would have collapsed. Not now. I was sharper, ready to fight fire with fire. By the time I left his office, my plan was set. Carson Industries, I dug into Carson's past, not sustainability. His real name was Carl Kowalski, born in Detroit, raised in poverty with a rap sheet wiped clean. I wasn't his first. 3 other women, wealthy, lonely, dead, followed the same pattern. Lisa Hartford, 34, pharmaceutical heiress, died skiing as Charles Hamilton's wife. Rebecca Steinberg, 29, real estate heiress, drowned as Robert Stone's spouse. Angela Morrison, 31, shipping heiress, burned in a house fire as Anthony Cross's wife. 3 accidents, 3 payouts, all vanished after Carson got them. No one linked them, but I saw his game. I was next. My rage was pure, forging me anew. He'd underestimated me. I acted fast, opened a bank account as Rosaline Brooks, moved funds, hired Diana Fletcher, a PI specializing in fraud. Track my husband, I told her. He's planning to harm me. I need court-ready proof. I'll have someone on him in an hour, Diana said. Timeline? 2 weeks, I said. Money's no issue. Done. I called Victoria Palmer, our family lawyer for 20 years. Victoria, I need you urgently, I said. It's about Carson. Serious. How serious? She asked, alert. Life and death. A pause. Be here in an hour? I'm on my way. Victoria's office sat in a sleek midtown Manhattan tower, all sharp lines and pricey decor that screamed success and secrecy. She was ready when I arrived, silver hair perfect, suit crisp and tailored. Tell me, she said as I sat across her grand mahogany desk. I spilled it all: Carson's affair, his fake identity, the life insurance policy, emails plotting my murder. I showed her photos, financial records, proof of his past marriages, and the deaths of his former wives. Victoria listened, her face darkening with each detail. When I finished, she leaned back, shaking her head. Rosaline, this is the most cunning murder-for-hire plot I've ever seen. Your husband's a serial killer, preying on rich women for their fortunes. I know, I said, voice steady. What do we do about it? She studied me, eyes sharp. What do you want? Your evidence is strong but circumstantial. Convicting him for old murders without bodies or fresh crime scenes is nearly impossible. I don't want a conviction, I said firmly. I want justice. They're not the same. No, I agreed. They're not. Victoria nodded, a silent agreement passing between us. What do you need? I need to shield my father's assets and my inheritance. Carson can't touch a cent of our family's wealth. That's doable. What else? I leaned in, voice low. I need to vanish. Vanish. Carson's planning my murder soon, per his emails. But what if I died first in a way he couldn't control? Her eyes lit with understanding. You want to fake your death? I want him to think I'm gone, that he's won, that he'll get everything he schemed for. I grinned, sharp and fierce. Then I'll tear him apart, piece by piece, from beyond the grave. Victoria paused, fingers steepled. This is complex, costly, risky, and likely illegal in countless ways. I know. It'll also be deeply satisfying to see a monster get what he deserves. Hope sparked in me. Will you help? Her smile was razor sharp. Rosaline, I've waited my career for a case like this. I'm in. We spent 2 hours sketching out a revenge plan unlike any other. It would take months, dozens of people, and a fortune to pull off. But when done, Carson, or whatever his real name was, would lose all he'd killed for. I'd watch him suffer, outsmarted by the weak woman he planned to kill. As I left Victoria's office, Manhattan's sky glowed red and gold, fitting for the war I was launching. Carson would be home soon, spinning lies about a client dinner, another night with James. Tonight, I'd face him across our table, knowing I held his fate. Every smile, every lie, every word about our future was another nail in his coffin. Carson thought he was the hunter. He'd learn how wrong he was. Driving home in the dark, I hummed, a lullaby my mother sang about justice and karma. Carson taught me to lie, manipulate, and hide behind a mask of love. He taught me well. Now he'd face his final lesson. I found Carson in our kitchen, sleeves up, crafting a romantic dinner. Candles glowed on the table, wine breathed on the counter, and a savory dish simmered. For a moment, I froze. This was the Carson I loved, thoughtful, devoted. If I hadn't seen his truth, I'd have melted. Instead, it felt like a staged act to toy with my heart. Surprise, Carson said, smiling that smile that now chilled me. I canceled the client dinner. We haven't had a real night together in weeks. He kissed me, and I forced myself to lean in, smiling as if his touch still thrilled me. This is perfect, I said, voice warm. What's the occasion? His eyes were soft, fake. Do I need a reason to be with my beautiful wife? Beautiful wife. Once those words warmed me. Now they stung like venom. You'll spoil me, I said, playing along, cheeks flushed. That's the goal, he murmured, pulling me close. I've been thinking about us, our future. Work's kept me busy, but you're my priority. His sincerity was flawless. Part of me ached to believe it, despite knowing his plans. You're everything to me, I said, voice soft, feigning emotion. His smile grew, forehead against mine. I love you, Rosaline. I'm so lucky to have found you. Found me. As if it was fate, not a calculated hunt. I love you too, I lied smoothly. We moved through dinner like actors. Carson served my favorite, lamb with rosemary, roasted vegetables, a perfect chocolate souffle. He poured wine, lit candles, crafting a scene of pure devotion. We talked easily. He asked about my day, my sustainability project, listening, questioning, offering sharp insights. His performance was flawless, and I watched, fascinated by his skill. How could he seem so caring while plotting my death? You're quiet, he noted over dessert. You okay? Work's on my mind, I said, truthful enough. The sustainability project's huge. It could change Carson Industries. His eyes gleamed, greed, not pride. Tell me more. I laid out my vision, modernizing processes, leading in eco-friendly manufacturing. He asked smart questions, but I knew he was calculating the company's value. His prize. It's bold, he said, but you'll make it happen. Your dad's lucky to have you. Thanks, I said, voice warm. Your support means the world. He took my hand, thumbs circling my palm. Always. I'm here for you. His touch, once electric, now sickened me. I smiled, squeezing back, playing my part. I've been thinking, I said, as if spontaneous. I want to update my will and add life insurance. With the company growing, I want you secure if anything happens. His face stayed calm, but his eyes flickered with interest. Don't say that, he said, voice heavy with fake worry. Nothing will happen to you. Nothing will happen. The irony was bitter. I know, I said softly. But Mom's death taught me life's fragile. I want you taken care of. Kissed my knuckles. You're too good to me. If it helps you feel secure, we'll talk to Victoria. Victoria. He didn't know I'd already met her, planning his ruin. I'll call her tomorrow, I said. Good, he replied, smiling with what looked like triumph. I want you at peace. Peace. From the man plotting my murder. The irony burned. After dinner, we moved to the living room where Carson had set up another surprise. A cozy fire glowed, more wine waited, and a playlist of our songs filled the air. He pulled me onto the couch, tucking me against his side, my head on his shoulder. It looked like perfect love, the kind that warmed my heart days ago. Now it felt like a snake's embrace. This is perfect, I said softly, faking contentment in my voice. It is, Carson agreed, stroking my hair. I want more nights like this, just us. Just us, as if he wasn't plotting to end my life soon. Me too, I whispered. We sat quietly, the fire crackling, wine softening the edges of this false peace. His hand ran through my hair, and I focused on his steady breathing, the beat of his heart. This was the man who held me when I grieved my mother, who vowed to love me forever. The man I gave my heart to, who planned to kill me for money. Rosaline, Carson said, voice hesitant. Are you happy? Truly happy with our life? His question surprised me. I looked up, seeing a flicker of the man I loved, a man who never existed. Of course, I said, touching his face gently. Why ask? He leaned into my hand, eyes closing. I worry I'm not enough, that you deserve better. His words were crafted to draw love, and they were true in a cruel way. I deserved better than a killer plotting my death for my fortune. "Don't be silly," I said fiercely. "You're kind, smart, funny, perfect. I can't imagine life without you." His eyes opened, intense, stealing my breath. "I love you so much, Rosaline, more than I thought possible." For a moment, I almost believed him, almost forgot James, the insurance, the murder plans. Almost. "I love you too," I whispered, kissing him softly. Kiss was perfect, his arms tight around me, his heart racing against mine. For a second, it felt real, like we were just two lovers, not a lie built on betrayal. But reality hit hard, cold, and sharp. Carson was a monster, charming and deadly, who'd killed 3 women and targeted me. No wine or candles could hide that truth. In bed, his lovemaking was tender, cruel in its gentleness, like I was something delicate to cherish. He whispered sweet words, called me beautiful, said he loved me more than life. But I knew he was thinking of James, the money, and when he could end this act. As he slept, I stared at the ceiling, feeling the weight of my losses. Not just my marriage, but my trust and love in people's goodness. The naive woman who believed love was enough was gone, killed by Carson's lies. Now I was cold, calculating, a liar as skilled as him, wearing devotion while plotting his ruin. Carson made me this way. He'd face the consequences. I studied his sleeping face in the moonlight, peaceful like the man I thought I married. But I knew the monster inside. "Sleep well," I whispered. "Enjoy it while it lasts." Soon, Carson would know what it felt like to be hunted, betrayed, outsmarted. When I was done, he'd lose everything, just as he planned for me. I'd watch him suffer with the same cold joy he felt plotting my death. The game was on, and I'd win. 2 weeks passed, a delicate dance of lies. Each morning, Carson and I played our parts perfectly, the caring husband, the grateful wife. We shared breakfast, planned weekends, looked like the ideal couple. But beneath it, a silent war raged. Diana Fletcher, my PI, earned every cent. Her daily encrypted reports painted Carson's double life in vivid detail. She caught him with James, hotel visits, restaurant receipts from secret credit cards, even recorded conversations. More damning were the financials. Carson was moving money from hidden accounts, built from his past victims' estates. He was prepping for life after my death, setting up offshore funds to vanish with my inheritance. The worst was a storage unit under a fake name, filled with boxes of his victims' belongings. Photos showed Lisa Hartford's ring, Rebecca Steinberg's watch, Angela Morrison's pearls, trophies from his kills. I stared at those images, trembling with rage. These were lives stolen, families broken. Carson would pay for them all. Victoria Palmer worked legal magic, crafting a trap for Carson's greed. At a quiet Queen's diner, she slid a folder across the Formica table. A $20 million life insurance policy with strict payout terms. Carson will think he's rich when you die, but the claim will stall for months while we unravel him. Plan was intricate, needing perfect timing and secrecy. My death would mimic Carson's accident plot, but I'd survive hidden as legal traps crushed him. "What about Dad?" I asked, heart heavy. Victoria's face softened. "We'll tell Jonathan the truth after your death. He'll grieve, but he'll thank you when he knows Carson's plans." I hoped so. Hurting Dad, even briefly, hurt me. Carson had to believe he'd won, free to claim his prize. At home, I played my role, mentioning will updates and life insurance as planned. Carson's responses were flawless, gentle protests, loving assurances, agreement to plan for the worst. But his eyes betrayed him, gleaming with greed at the money involved. "I've been thinking about our future," he said one night in bed, voice soft. "Where we'll be in 5, 10 years. What do you see?" I asked, curious about his lie. "Travel," he said. "Seeing the world, maybe a home in Europe, warm and beautiful." "We could work or not," he added, as if I'd be there, not dead, while he lived it with James. "Sounds amazing," I said. We'd need the business to run itself. Your father won't live forever, he said, chilling me. You'll inherit Carson Industries. We could hire a team to run it while we live. Was he plotting Dad's death too? Dad's healthy, I said carefully. Of course, he said quickly. I just meant the company will be ours someday. Ours. He meant his. I love you, he said, kissing my shoulder. I love you too, I replied, the lie easy, mourning the man I thought he was. The real Carson deserved only my contempt. 3 weeks into my investigation, Diana handed me the proof I'd been waiting for. Carson was actively plotting my murder. He's researching methods, she said in a New Jersey Mall parking garage. Untraceable poisons, staged car crashes, disabling smoke detectors for a house fire. My throat tightened. How soon? Within 2 weeks, based on his searches and talks with James. They're impatient, planning a long vacation after you're gone. Gone. Cold word for murder. There's more, Diana said, face grim. He's been poisoning you for a month. The room spun. What? Small arsenic doses in your coffee or tea. It's not lethal yet, but enough to weaken you, making your death seem natural. I recalled recent nausea, headaches, fatigue, blamed on stress, but it was Carson. He'd been killing me slowly, unnoticed. Can you prove it? I whispered. Hair, blood, tissue show arsenic exposure. We have video of him tampering with your coffee maker and his illegal supplier in Chicago. Truth hit hard. Carson wasn't just planning my death, he'd begun it. Every kiss, every touch, every night we made love, he'd been poisoning me. I need to speed this up, I said, voice firm. How fast can we act? Diana studied me. Are you sure? Once we start, Rosaline Carson is gone forever. She's already gone, I said. Carson killed her when he chose my death over my life. That night, beside my would-be killer, I finalized my plans. Tomorrow, Rosaline Carson, naive heiress and loving wife, would vanish. By evening, I'd be dead to the world. Carson's nightmare would begin. My death morning was gray, drizzling, as if the sky mourned what was coming. I woke before Carson's alarm, staring at his sleeping face one last time. Tonight, he'd think I was dead. Tomorrow, he'd plan how to spend my money. Within a week, he'd see his plans unravel. I felt nothing, no love, no hate, just cold justice nearing. Carson's alarm buzzed at 6:30. He woke alert, like a predator always ready. Good morning, beautiful, he said, reaching for me with hands that poisoned me. Good morning, I replied, letting him kiss me, his lips cold as ice. We moved through our routine, honed over 3 years. He showered. I made coffee I wouldn't touch. I cooked scrambled eggs while he shaved, humming to keep up our happy facade. Big day, Carson said, fixing his tie. Meetings all afternoon. Might be late. Meetings. Probably a rendezvous with James. It didn't matter anymore. Don't overwork, I said, kissing him goodbye. I love you. I love you too, he said, his smile so perfect I almost forgot his true face. Once he left, I sprang into action. Victoria and Diana arrived with a costly specialist team, setting up the scene with precision. Last chance to back out, Victoria said in the kitchen. This is permanent. I thought of Carson's emails, his victims' trophies, the arsenic in my coffee. I'm ready, I said. Plan was simple. A gas leak from a faulty water heater, an explosion leveling half the house, leaving an unidentifiable body. Not mine, a Jane Doe from the morgue, her dental records tweaked to match mine. Gruesome but necessary. Carson had to believe I was dead, his crime perfect. By 3 o'clock, everything was set. I stood in my home, surrounded by a life built on lies, feeling only resolve. Time to go, Diana said, glancing at her watch. We need to be gone before Carson returns. I looked at our wedding photos, furniture we picked, the bedroom where I slept beside a killer. Then I walked away. We drove to a plain Connecticut safe house, my new home for now. I watched the highway blur, grappling with what I'd done. Rosaline Carson was dead. Something new would rise. At 4:15, Victoria called. It's done. Explosion visible from blocks away. Fire and police are there. I exhaled, relief mixed with grief. Carson. He's on his way. Diana's team says he sounds shocked, devastated. A perfect act, even now. Keep me updated, I said, hanging up. I watched my death on TV. Local news broke it. Wealthy heiress killed in gas explosion. Neighbors called us the perfect couple, stunned by the tragedy. Carson's camera performance was flawless, pale, trembling, grief-stricken. He spoke of our love, our plans, cut short, mentioning my new insurance as proof of my care for him. She always put others first, he told a reporter, voice cracking. Even in death, she protected me. The irony choked me. National news picked it up. Brooks' heiress dies in tragic accident. Pundits debated Carson Industries' future without Jonathan Brooks' heir. Dad's statement broke my heart. We lost a brilliant mind and loving heart. Rosaline's vision will live on. His grief cracked my icy resolve, but I couldn't comfort him yet. Carson's pain would last forever. I tracked him via Diana's surveillance. He played the shattered widower perfectly. He planned my memorial, accepted condolences with grace. But alone in his hotel, claiming our house held too many memories, his mask fell. Diana's bugs caught his call to James hours after my death. It's done, Carson said, cold and triumphant. The nurse is finally dead. Sure, James asked, thrilled. Saw the body bag. Explosion was big, makes it believable. The insurance? James pressed. Carson laughed. 20 million plus her inheritance plus the company when her dad dies. Nearly $100 million, James. We're set. When can we be together? James asked, longing clear. Soon, Carson said. I'll play the widower a few weeks, let the insurance clear. Then we disappear somewhere tropical, somewhere no one knew them. Carson knew his crimes needed hiding. I watched him move forward, meeting lawyers, insurance agents, planning his riches. The memorial was grueling. Carson wept at the cathedral podium, mourning our love, our future. Rosaline was my everything, Carson said, voice cracking with fake grief. She made me better just by believing in me. I don't know how to go on, but I'll honor her by living our dream. Congregations sobbed. My father, aged overnight, could barely stand. My Carson Industries colleagues wiped tears. Carson played his grief like a pro, soaking up sympathy while plotting his getaway with James. But I watched, waiting, collecting every lie, every slip that revealed the monster inside. Soon, Carson would know what it felt like to be the prey. 2 weeks after my death, Carson grew restless. Through Diana's surveillance, I saw him hounding insurance companies, lawyers, and banks. His widower act faded, replaced by irritation at delays blocking his blood money. They're stalling, he griped to James on a call. Insurance needs more papers. Probate's dragging. It's like they're stopping me from getting what's mine. What's mine? His entitlement to my murder's reward was sickening. Maybe we wait, James said, tense. It's only been 2 weeks. 3 years, Carson snapped. 3 years pretending to love that naive little Nico. 3 years playing house with someone who bored me. I've earned this, James. Earned. As if his lies compared to the lives he stole, the trust he shattered. His impatience was my weapon. Phase 1 of my revenge was flawless. He thought he'd won, killed his 4th wife, and was just waiting for his prize. His arrogance made him sloppy. Victoria masterminded the delays. Insurance claims hit snags. Probate filings bounced back. Transfers stalled under compliance reviews. It looked like red tape. In truth, it was my trap to frustrate Carson while my real plan grew. I gathered evidence relentlessly. Diana's team recorded his meetings with James, calls about their plans, moments his mask slipped. We had videos of him celebrating my death, audio of him scheming to spend my money, records of his new life with James. But I needed more, proof of his past murders, to lock him away forever. 3 weeks post-death, Diana struck gold. "We found her," she said on a secure video call. Rebecca Steinberg's sister, Martha, a PI who never bought her sister's drowning, was accidental. Martha, a sharp-eyed ex-detective in her 50s, met me in a Philadelphia coffee shop. "I knew he killed her," she said. Rebecca was a strong swimmer. She wouldn't drown unless someone held her down. Her files were damning. Photos of Carson with Rebecca, suspicious transactions, witnesses to their fights before her death. "I tried reopening the case," Martha said. "But Robert Stone vanished after Rebecca died, until your husband's face hit the news." "How'd you link him?" I asked. "Facial recognition," she said grimly. "I've searched for years." "Your death flagged him." Puzzle pieces clicked. I had proof of his plan to kill me and now evidence of Rebecca's murder. With Martha, I could ensure Carson's life sentence. But first, I wanted him to suffer, to feel the betrayal he inflicted. It was time to pull the strings. First, I hid his finances. Through Victoria's shell companies, I bought his debts, credit cards, his apartment mortgage, his BMW lease. Soon, his cards froze for suspicious activity. His mortgage company demanded sudden fees. His car was repossessed mid-dinner with James, leaving him humiliated. "This makes no sense," he told his lawyer, unaware I paid them. "My credit was perfect. Why's everything collapsing?" The lawyer, clueless, cited system errors, warning fixes could take months. Carson's frustration was delicious. He was powerless, his life unraveling. Next, I targeted his reputation. Through leaks, I spread rumors of mismanaged funds and unethical deals in his financial consulting world. Clients demanded audits, uncovering shady patterns. His firm distanced itself from their toxic employee. "I don't get it," Carson told James, voice strained. "Someone's destroying my life." Someone was me, the ghost he thought he'd killed. The pressure strained his bond with James. "Maybe we should pause," James said during a fight. "Wait for things to settle." "Pause." Carson barked. "I kill my wife for this, James. I'm not letting red tape stop me." "You killed for us," James corrected, doubt creeping in. "But if someone digs too deep—" "No one's digging," Carson insisted. "Her death was accidental. It's just bad luck." But I heard his doubt, the cracks in his confidence. The final blow was personal. I learned James loved high-stakes poker in Atlantic City. I arranged invites to exclusive games with tempting credit. James lost big, racking up debts he couldn't pay without my inheritance. Loan sharks hounded him. His and Carson's dream getaway became impossible. "They want $50,000 by Friday," James told Carson, panicked. "Or they'll break my legs. $50,000?" Carson roared. "How'd you lose that much?" "You said the money was coming," James shot back. "I took risks." "Well, you screwed up," Carson said. "Everything's tied up in the estate." "Untie it," James demanded. "Call your lawyer." "Fix this. Your dead wife's money." The phrase, once crushing, now fueled my fire. Carson and James's bond frayed, their dream life crumbling. I wasn't done. A month after my death, I sent Carson a message. A bouquet of lilies, my favorite, arrived at his hotel with a card, "From someone who remembers." Carson stared at it, confusion turning to fear per Diana's footage. He grilled the florist and hotel staff, but the order was anonymous. 3 days later, a photo slid under his door. Him and James at his storage unit, holding his victim's trophies. On the back, in my handwriting, "I see you now." Carson called James, voice tight. "Someone knows." They're watching us. Impossible, James said, shaken. Who? Why? I don't know, Carson admitted. But they know about the trophies. Trophies? James's voice sharpened. What trophies? A long pause. Things from before. From the other wives. Other wives. James whispered. How many, Carson? Then I realized James didn't know Carson's full history. He thought he'd killed one woman, not a serial killer with a decade of blood on his hands. 3, Carson admitted, voice heavy. 3 before Rosaline. The silence was crushing. James's voice broke hollow. You killed 3 women. Not like that, Carson said fast. It was business, James. Path to our life together. They were just steps. Steps. James's voice rose sharp. They were people, Carson. Women who loved you, trusted you, and you murdered them for money. For us, Carson insisted. Everything was for our future. But the lie was exposed. His story of a man trapped in a loveless marriage, saved by true love, crumbled. James wasn't his redemption. He was just another pawn used by a predator who saw people as tools. A week later, my third message broke Carson's calm completely. A DVD appeared in his mailbox, no sender. It showed security footage from our house on my death day. Carson leaving for work, kissing me goodbye, striding to his car, certain I'd be gone forever. Then it showed what he never saw, me returning, specialists setting up, staging the accident scene. At the end, my lipstick scrawled on our bedroom mirror, "Did you think you could kill me and walk away?" Carson's scream of fear and rage echoed through Diana's surveillance. For the first time, his mask fell, showing the panic of a hunter turned hunted. He called the police, begging for protection, claiming a stalker. But what could he say? That someone knew about his murder? That his dead wife's ghost was watching? The police filed a harassment report, added hotel patrols, but couldn't shield him from an invisible enemy. Carson was learning the fear his victims felt, knowing their loved one was their killer. This was just the start of his lesson. Phase 2 of my revenge was coming, and Carson had no idea how bad it would get. 6 weeks after my death, Carson's world collapsed. A registered letter hit his hotel room Tuesday morning. Inside, a court order froze my estate's assets pending a criminal probe into my death. The tip, mine disguised as a citizen's, included Carson's past marriages, trophy photos, and audio of him plotting my murder with James. FBI agents swarmed his room, seizing his computer, phone, and records linking him to a decade of killings. From a van across the street, Diana's surveillance showed Carson in handcuffs, shocked, disbelieving. Carson Carlos, you're under arrest for the murders of Lisa Hartford, Rebecca Steinberg, Angela Morrison, and Rosaline Carson, an agent declared as cameras rolled. I tipped the media, ensuring his arrest went live nationwide. It's insane, Carson protested, shoved into a police car. Rosaline's death was an accident. I loved her. No one listened. My evidence was airtight, meticulously gathered. The storage unit raid revealed his trophies: Lisa's ring, Rebecca's watch, Angela's pearls, and my lost necklace, bracelet, and wedding photo. My items crushed his defense. How could he explain keeping them? James, arrested as an accessory, cracked fast, detailing Carson's murder plans, his casual talk of past killings, his lack of remorse. They were transactions, James whispered to investigators. Lisa, Rebecca, Angela, just steps to his dream life. The media frenzy was brutal. Serial husband, marriage killer, they called him. His charming photo was gone, replaced by a cold-eyed killer's mugshot. The 3-month trial was a spectacle. I attended daily, disguised in a wig and glasses, watching my evidence destroy him. Prosecutors painted Carson as a sociopath, targeting rich women for their wealth. They showed financial records, psychological profiles, and survivor testimonies. Martha Steinberg described Rebecca's fear of her husband's odd behavior before her death, giving a human face to Carson's crimes. The worst was Carson's own words, recordings of him laughing about my death, calling me a naive innocent who got what she deserved. Jurors recoiled at his casual murder plots, his widower act timeline. His defense claimed a frame-up, called past deaths coincidences, even painted his affair as emotional instability. But my evidence was overwhelming, consistent across victims. The jury saw the truth, a serial killer honed over years. Unanimous verdict, guilty on 4 first-degree murders, fraud, conspiracy. Life without parole. Carson collapsed as the verdict hit, his charm replaced by a broken shell. Even then, he tried manipulating. "I loved Rosaline," he told the court. "My mistakes were born of love." His words, meant to sway, fell flat. I knew his lies too well. The judge was unmoved. "Mr. Carlos, your remorseless crimes destroyed lives. You're a societal threat, locked away forever." Sentencing closed one chapter, but my journey continued. I had to reclaim my life, starting with my father. Jonathan Brooks had aged years since my death. Victoria brought him to a Hamptons estate for our reunion. He looked broken. "Rosaline," he whispered as I removed my disguise. "Dad," I said, his sob of joy healing me. Our reunion was raw, overwhelming. He held me, afraid I'd vanish. I cried for the first time, not from rage, but relief. I'd survived. I'd won. "I'm sorry I couldn't protect you," he said. "You did," I replied. "You raised me to save myself." We talked for hours, planning my return, my role at Carson Industries. "What do you want?" he asked. "For the company, your life?" Good question. The naive woman who died was gone. The new me was tougher, wiser, wary of charming smiles. "I want to live," I said plainly. "I want to make Carson Industries stronger, honor Carson's victims, and help women escape predators like him." That's what I did. I founded the Rosaline Carson Foundation, a nonprofit for victims of domestic violence and financial abuse. We offered legal aid, financial support, and safe houses for women fleeing danger. We funded studies on predators like Carson, aiding police to stop them early. 6 months after Carson's conviction, Miriam called our hotline. Her story echoed mine. A charming man, a fast romance, subtle red flags. "He knows too much," she said, hands trembling over coffee. "My family, my inheritance, things I never shared. Like he researched me." I saw myself in her, naive, trusting, blind to a perfect lie. But Miriam was smarter, seeking help in time. "You're safe," I told her. "We'll make you vanish like I did and stop him." Her fiancé, Michael Thompson, was Thomas Mitchell, a con artist with a fraud record. He hadn't killed yet, but his pattern mimicked Carson's, targeting rich women. We gave the FBI our evidence, and Thomas was arrested before he could harm anyone. A small win, but huge. Every predator stopped meant lives saved. The foundation grew, fueled by my inheritance and public support. We opened offices in 12 cities, helped hundreds escape, and worked with police to catch financial predators. 2 years later, Carson's prison letter arrived, his elegant script chilling me. "Rosaline," it began, "I know you're alive. You orchestrated my downfall." He called me ruthless, claiming prison changed him, begging for a visit to apologize. He swore his love was real, despite his greed. I read it 3 times, fury growing. He still thought he could manipulate me. He dared claim credit for my strength, as if I didn't outsmart him myself. I replied with one sentence on fine stationery. "I was never yours, and you were never mine." Carson never wrote again. 5 years after Carson's conviction, I reflect on who I was and who I am. The naive Rosaline, fooled by a sociopath, is gone. I don't miss her. The new me is cautious, seeing darkness behind charming smiles. I don't trust easily or fall for sweet words. I value my strength, smarts, and grit, not just my capacity to love. Carson Industries thrives under me, a leader in sustainable manufacturing just as I dreamed. The foundation has saved over 3,000 women, driven new laws against predators. I've testified before Congress, spoken globally, and wrote a memoir funding our work. But the biggest change is personal. I'm learning to trust again carefully. Dr. Marcus Webb, a forensic psychologist, profiles killers like Carson. We met at a conference, bonding over our work against predators. He knows my story, respects my wariness, and earns my trust with actions, not words. I checked your background, I said after our third date. He laughed. I'd expect nothing less. Find anything? No red flags, no secret serial killer vibes, I teased. His humor, understanding my trauma, showed his heart. We've been together 2 years. My love for him is steady, real, not desperate like with Carson. He accepts my guarded heart, proving himself daily. I love who you've become, he said on my new terrace, untainted by Carson. Your pain became purpose, your survival a gift to others. I'm starting to see it that way, not as victimhood, but transformation. Carson tried to destroy me, but forged someone stronger. Nightmares still come, Carson plotting my death, my world collapsing. But I wake in my home, surrounded by my new life. My desk holds a gala photo, raising millions for prevention. My shelf has my memoir, signed by women it saved. My finger bears Marcus's promise ring, a symbol of trust earned slowly. Carson rots in prison, his appeals denied. Porters ask if I regret my deceptive tactics. Never. Carson killed 3 women and planned my murder. He'd never stop without my intervention. The system failed Lisa, Rebecca, and Angela. I ensured it didn't fail me. My methods were extreme, costly, morally gray, but they worked. Carson and James are locked away, their story a warning to others. I'm no vigilante or hero, just a survivor who refused to lose. The old Rosaline would have balked at my ruthlessness, seeking a kinder path. But that Rosaline nearly died, blind to her killer. The new me is sharp, wary, effective, protecting others from hidden threats. I'm not the woman Carson met at that gala. She's dead as he planned. From her ashes rose someone fierce, who fought fire with fire and won. I wonder sometimes what confronting Carson would have done. A confession? Remorse? No. He was a predator, incapable of real emotion. Confrontation would have hastened my death. My path brought justice for me, Lisa, Rebecca, and Angela. At night, I look at the stars, thinking of those women killed for trusting a monster. I survived because I was suspicious, wealthy, ruthless. Not every woman has that, so my foundation gives them what I had. Every escape, every predator caught, honors those who didn't make it. I'm not the naive heiress who believed in fairy tales. I'm the woman who fought back, turned the hunter into the hunted, and won. Carson created a force he couldn't imagine. That was his mistake, and my triumph.